Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome back. All right. So I see that level we had marked off before lunch, 934 and a half. Never got any closer than it did just before we got off. It was about a point away. Hopefully anyone who was in that long was able to close out, stealing profit. All right, Eddie. What's up? Queen is back, JR. Blood. All right, we'll see now that we're back into the bullish fair value gap here. We'll see if it just wants to return to the candle, to the order block, really, that sent price higher, or if it's looking to take out the regular trading hour gap low at 793. Okay, this is a breaker from earlier today that never was traded back to. And then we see now it's finally being traded back to, but not being respected at the moment. Now price could just trade into this down leg, and then we can see it push back up. But unless we get another breaker here on the lower time frame, let me drop down to like the 15-second and see if something happens. If we don't get one, then we won't be looking for a return bullish. All right, Katie Gonzalez, what's up? This one right there. Let's see, we can take one. Looks nice little 14-point stop. Looks like. That was heavy. Yeah, it is. That was heavy. But it's been that way. We have the dollar pushing higher as well. So we have the dollar pushing higher and have all the indices so far in the first 8 minutes here pushing lower. Okay, that ends our macro. So far, we have gotten a little bit of a bullish push out of the uh, breaker that we found on the 30-second, or I'm sorry, on the 15-second. coming out of around 105-ish, somewhere around there. Now we want to see if we can get it to push up 25 points here. And that'll be TPing out at 863.75. So essentially 864. And you should be up about 15 points if anyone took this setup. So just make sure you're protecting your position just in case everything comes back down. Remember, this breaker is off of the 15 seconds. So we just want to make sure that we have the right confirmation. Now we want to look and see if there's another breaker on a higher time frame that is forming, because if it does, then we could get further confirmation that we could hold longer. So potentially we have this one. Right? Which actually we don't necessarily need to draw. So let me get rid of it. We can just extend the one from earlier. We've now had a reclamation of it. It closed above, so we can feel comfortable that price is going to continue higher. Maybe return back down to this 30-second and then push higher. Should be up about 20 points now. So far away from it that I believe it'll hold. And if it doesn't, we can always just move it around a bit. Awful. Good, good afternoon. Welcome back. Yeah, I'm looking at another trade idea here. I found a bullish breaker on the 15 second, so I set the long tool up to just see if it's able to achieve 25 points here. Oh, you got 20? Great, great, Al. That's excellent. Yep. Yeah, so far from its entry, it went up about 21 points and then came back down. So that may be all we get, right? And if you didn't close out your trade, then you know it's a risk that you accepted. But yep, so there it goes. Did not deliver 25 and only gave 21. But that is one of the risks. That's why I mentioned that I found it on the 15 seconds. So you just gotta understand it's a lower time frame with a smaller range, and so we may not actually get the full TP. Yeah. So we still haven't closed below this low, so it's not technically invalidated yet. However, it would have stopped us out. Gotta get rid of this. All right, regular trading hour gap low at 793. Still open from this morning. We traded to, I believe, I'm not mistaken, about 50% of it. Yeah, that could play a role. I'm watching the dollar. The dollar is now touching a couple of bearish fair value gaps here, and so I'm just looking to see if the dollar wants to reject those fair value gaps, or if it just pushes right through it. So what we have is we have the dollar in a bearish fair value gap, and we have the Dow and Nasdaq in bullish ones, and S&P is just kind of in the middle. It's not in a fair value gap at all. It's in between. All right, so we put candle bodies on that low, that swing low. It wick below it, but put the bodies on the low. So let's see now what the next couple candles do, whether it breaks lower, or if we see some type of. Okay, I'll stop talking. All right, so in the 15-minute, we still have. Let me see. All right, so the 5-minute breaker still it's not invalidated yet. Not until we trade below and close below 18,802. I wonder if the Dow and Nasdaq are going to hold in these bullish fair value gaps until S&P catches up and trades into one of its own. We've gotten a bullish response from consequent encroachment of this candle here at 10:55 this morning, the 5-minute candle. That last down close candle, which would be a bullish order block, is now, we see consequent encroachment is now pushing price higher. We're now at 850 from a low of 816-ish, somewhere in there. $890. Well, yeah, I don't see why not. 890 is not really that far. Not to mention you have all these bearish fair value gaps created on the way down. So the first one is at 874 all the way up to 893. So you're talking about trading into that fair value gap. It's absolutely possible. So I'll go ahead and mark this up here. And if you are in a position and you're looking forward to trade there, you can trade it as you see fit. But I'm not saying it will go there because I'm not sure, but it could. Right. First things first, though, you need to get over this swing high right here. So it's going to have to trade above 856, or I'm sorry, 858. And you're going to want to see it close a candle above it, not just a wick. If it trade a wick and then retrace back below it, then potentially we're going lower. All right, here we are at 130. So now we have our low. Well, it's a little bit past 130. We do have our lunch low here. So we want to see if that may be where price wants to trade first, take out the low first, and then maybe seek higher prices. Or will that low be protected? Oh, thanks, Queen. Let me go back just for a quick second, look at 15 just to see if it looks any different. Not really. So we got our lunch high and our lunch low. All right, so equilibrium be right here at 874, 874. Right at the 5-minute fair value gap. It's interesting. All right, let's put it back on 5-minute here. So that's where equilibrium is, right at that lower limit. Yeah, Dow is still heavy, making hourly lows still. All right, while we're waiting, let's go ahead and just take a look at what the other indices are doing. And as well as let's take a peek at the dollar. So these are the two bearish fair value gaps that the dollar is trading into this hour that I was monitoring to see what exactly did the dollar want to do once it traded in there. Right now, it looks like it's rejecting, but it's still too early to say. There's another 24 minutes on this calendar, on this candle. So we'll still have to wait to see if it, because it's the range is not so large that it can't recover and still become bullish before the hour is over. In fact, it's at its opening value, so there is no candle body. So anything can happen in the next few minutes, and it still has over 20 to trade this hour. So I'll continue to monitor the dollar to see what it wants to do. I'm hoping it wants to reject and push lower, which would then in turn make these fair value gaps support for price to push higher. But it's like I said, the Dow is still heavy at its lowest point of the hour. So you don't see a wick below, the wick is above. S&P, as I mentioned, was trading in between fair value gaps. So it has a bullish one just below, but it needs to continue pushing lower in order to reach that. And so I thought maybe Nasdaq would just hold clear in where it was here, waiting for the S&P to get down to a fair value gap. Once that happens, then they can get back in sync and they both can find support pushing higher. If that's not the case, then maybe NQ will trade lower as well, and we'll get down into this area between 730 and 690. And then we'll see if it finds support there. If not, there's several more. Since we had been bullish all week, there's several more fair value gaps below that it could find support at. So it just really depends on whether it finds support there, and then also how the dollar. See, right now the dollar is it's bullish again, and just in the last minute. So that's how it could go either direction, right? We've already swept these highs, but maybe this candle below right here during the lunch hour was enough tap back into internal range for it to then look for more external. Right above this fair value gap is okay. This is the new day opening gap from the end of Tuesday and the start of Wednesday. And I believe that is the 14th. So that's last week, Tuesday, Wednesday. All right. So the dollar is looking like it wants to still be a little bullish. And so we're expecting more bearish conditions for our indices, at least for the remainder of the hour. Right, flip back over. Launch low is gone. And okay, regular trading hour gap that left as well. All right, so we traded back to the regular trading hour gap, which takes us back to, I guess that's 4:15 yesterday, just before the news was announced. Right. Yep. So the 4:15 opening was right here, 790.75. Now we'll see how far the price wants to trade. We do have this long wick from the announcement of Nvidia's earnings yesterday. We have this long wick here where price is not traded back into, except for a little bit right here. You generally like to see it trade at least 50%. So we want to see at least 735, just below 735. More bullish fair value gaps here. So we'll look for that to trade to 735 and then maybe find support and look for maybe a bullish setup there. But a lot of that hinges on what the dollar is doing at that time. All right, so now we have all three traded down into bullish fair value gaps. So it does look like the Dow and Nasdaq waited on S&P to get down there as well, and now all three are sitting at bullish fair value gaps here. In doing so, what S&P just did was take out that low, the low from yesterday. So this morning we saw Dow sweep the low, and now this afternoon we see S&P doing it. Nasdaq still has not. That low still has not been swept, and it's the low from yesterday at 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. 2 p.m. 1 hour 1 hour low. In fact, let me just show it quickly. So it's right here on the NQ, and we see that it's been traded to just now, just recently here on S&P, and it was traded to up here. So that was, oops, 9 o'clock, I believe. Yep, during the 9 o'clock hour this morning was when the Dow took it. Okay. Roll my, all right, face back up there. Stoic, you're right. It is scary when the dollar's up. But they're all moving in sequence with the dollar now. So they have, I guess that's what 130 did. Maybe at 130, they all got in sequence and now they're moving in that direction. So we have big bearish candles now for all the indices pushing lower, looking for potentially a fair value gap below where we currently are. All right, dollar has reached buy side liquidity now. And let's not forget the dollar did get really good news this morning. Majority of the news events were pointing towards a stronger dollar today. So we had both services and manufacturing PMI came in better than forecast, and we also had, if I'm not mistaken, jobs data. I think it was jobless claims, unemployment claims. Yep, came in better than forecast. So we had those three high impact news drivers impacting price this morning. The only one that was unfavorable, and it was a medium impact news event, was the new home building. So the new home buildings came in below forecast. Right, we're getting right here at the macro. Let me drop down to the 1 minute here. Let's see if we notice any type of structure change or anything during this time period. And since we know that we are bearish, clearly on this time frame with this push up and then another push lower, closing below this low, that we know that we are bearish here, right? And things could shift with a close above 811. We have equal lows here. So let's see if we get a sweep below and then a energetic move higher, invalidating this fair value gap, turning it into an inversion, trading higher than here with a retracement back down. Right, so ideally I like to see this up to here and then back to here and then up to here. We're going to get the fair value gap below to be tapped in first. So now that we've gotten a retracement, let's see what the next candle does. We got equal highs and we have equal lows. Same thing. We're overlapping here with 2 1-hour fair value gaps, one from yesterday and one from, I believe, the day before. Actually, I take that back, one from Tuesday and one from Monday. Okay, you short looking for 678. Okay. All right, looks like price is quite bearish still, so we'll get rid of this little graphic. There is consequent encroachment. It looks like just eyeballing it, we're close to it now. Okay, there it is. 709 3/4. So basically 710. That's what we're looking at for consequent encroachment. We'll see if there's a reaction at that time. Tap into consequent encroachment. Now let's see type of response we get. See if it trades above 730 and is able to close above 730. Oh, okay, Lisa. Yeah. So I have these sort of images in my head as to how the candles should present themselves, and if they don't, then there's nothing to do. Because I've had too many situations where I get an impulsive candle or I get something that looks almost like that, and I try to take it, and it just doesn't work. Consequent encroachment, it's just 50%. It's a term that ICT uses, but it's just 50% of this area. So I put a Fibonacci on it and just marked it out so I wouldn't have to continue to wonder where 50% is. I just put a line there so I know. And it's just the balanced price. Like a lot of times you want to see price at least trade into 50% of an area before it leaves. That's all. Yep. If we do not get an impulse here to the upside, then of course we're looking for lower prices here. And in that case, we'll likely flip over to being bearish for now. We had such a large range this morning in the morning trading that who knows what the afternoon is going to give. And also 1 o'clock, we just had a nice range the last hour to the downside as well. It was a little over 100 points. And now we're back to the pretty much the lows of yesterday afternoon, right at 2 o'clock. We hit this level during 2, 3, and 4 o'clock yesterday. Yeah. Yeah, I was favoring prices trading lower this week only because on the weekly calendar or the weekly candle, we didn't get a down wick. So when price opened up Sunday evening, it just started bullish and just carried through even through this morning, making a new high. So I was favoring it putting in a down wick, but that would mean we'd have a bearish weekly candle. So it's a good little range it would need to trade to, but it's possible between today and tomorrow. All I'm doing is just respecting these fair value gaps that I see. And I'm content with the way that price action was this morning and the trades that I was able to see, the one that I caught. And so now I'm just really just, what do you call it? Tape reading and letting you guys know what I see, but I'm not chomping at the bit to jump into position. For those of you who are new, I'm not the type of trader who needs to be in every price leg that moves. No, Eddie, this is not a box that I drew, so you can't put a midpoint here. This is coming from an indicator, a fair value gap indicator that puts this here for me on the 1 hour. Yes, if I draw the box, then I already have it where it gives me the center point. But this one right here is coming from, it's called fair value gap from Nephew Sam. It's an indicator here. Another reason why I wasn't jumping to go short was because Nasdaq has been showing relative strength all morning against the downtrend, even though the Dow has been moving lower and S&P is just kind of been a little slower than NQ, but NQ is showing a lot of strength. And so that's why I wanted to see if any of these bullish fair value gaps would work. So I'm looking to see if there was going to be a change in sentiment, if there was going to be, and so that's why I have highs marked out to see if there's going to be a market structure shift. Also looking to see if there's a breaker of any kind being created. And so far there isn't. So price is moving lower and it's just a risk that I'm willing to take and not be a part of the move. All right, Queen, take care. We will catch you tomorrow. And congratulations. Let's see if this will hold. Maybe about 14 points, and that was it. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. We may be heavily bearish still. And in that case, this will fail. Yep, didn't hold. Did not hold. We have these equal lows right here. Maybe it's going to make a comeback after trading into what is this this last leg down, just balance price there. Let's see if it's able to take out this high. If you are in a long, make sure you protect yourself. We do have equal lows down here. The breaker is blue. So if you ever see a blue box, that's the breaker. So that's here. The breaker was here. We're to trade below, close above, trade back inside during the macro. So this was the breaker. Now we'll just see if price is able to run up 25 points up to 727. No, so equal lows is just liquidity, Lisa. So what happens is if people were bullish, they put their stop loss right here. So the market makers know that all the stop losses for longs are placed right here. So if it wants to go and take your stop, then it knows it just needs to trade below here. So I was just saying, make sure you understand that these equal lows are a magnet for price, and so it may come down and get you. So just protect yourself. Likewise, when we had equal highs right here, we had a little stumpy candle here, and immediately after we went and took these just in case someone was going short, they would probably put their stop there. Same over here, equal highs. It'll trade up there to take the stops from here for anyone who went short. All right, so it didn't quite, gave 23 points, 22 and a half. All right, well, it's good to know that if I take it on a 15-second, I can't expect 25 points anymore. Looks like 20 is the number. It hit 20 earlier today, just before lunch, before it retraced. And then even here, it hit 20 as well. I generally try to take it on the 1 minute to the 5 minute. I just looked here on the 15-second just to see if it's there, because sometimes you will find it on a lower time frame, and that'll be the one that takes you much higher. Just like this morning, we saw another one on, I think it was 30-second, but maybe it was the 15. And that one led to not only that breaker working out, but it continued to rally for a little over 100 points. Did this retrace again? I think it did. Okay, right there. Dow Jones is still heavy at the moment, while we're starting to see a little bit of retracement for S&P and Nasdaq. Not a lot, just a little. So these are your lows at 680, and we're currently trading at 705. So, and we got up to 725. So we retraced about 40 points. And now here it goes. Now maybe it'll look for those lows. Right, there's a level Milad. You got it, 678. That also now ends SMT. So before we had SMT because NQ wouldn't snap that low from yesterday, but now that's been done. Now let's see here on the 1 minute if this is a bearish breaker. Let's go to the 5 minute. Let's shift this over. Yep. All right, Queen. Catch you tomorrow. Good chatting with you again, and have fun at your happy hour. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking dollar still looking bullish. Still bullish this hour. And it's weird because usually the dollar and during the afternoons is very lethargic, has really a small range per hour. The candles don't generally do much, but it's still moving today. Right. So our opening of the week is at 6:31. So we're actually not too far away from putting in that down wick on the weekly that I was talking about. Didn't realize we could make that recovery in just one day. Not pushed down 25 points yet. 685 needs to get to 660. It has not gotten it. Nope, 5 more points. Right, there we go. There's 25 points. All right, so we have the New York low from May 20th below us at 635. So that was Monday, I believe. And liquidity below that is at 546. All right, if we sweep the New York low here at 635, then we will be below our weekly open. And so then we'll finally have a bearish candle on the weekly, which will give us that down wick that we do not have at the moment. If we're able to get a down wick today, then it doesn't necessarily mean we'll be bearish tomorrow. But if we don't get a down wick today, then I'm definitely looking for the price to want to put in a down wick tomorrow. Let me see if I can help you spot breakers better. Let me find a super easy one, because I'll agree they're not all created equally. Sometimes some are extremely easy to see and others are not. Let's go to the one from this morning. So the 1 minute maybe. All right, so the ones that are the easiest for me to spot look like this. I really like it when there's a couple candles that make the retracement, that you get it from a couple candles, not just from one. Oh, looks like we're having some impulse movement now, but we'll get back to that later. But Miss Goody, this one here is probably the easiest one to see, where it's just you get this action. That's essentially what a breaker looks like when you just use the arrows, and the breaker is going to be this move. So you're moving downwards. That's the direction you're going, right? So everything's going this way. You put in a low, you put in a short-term high, you put in a new low, and then you violate that high. Because before all of that happens, you're basically doing this, right? And none of the highs are being violated. It's only when you do this. Oops. And you violate this high right here, that this becomes your breaker. Let me get it out of the way so it's a little easier for you. All right. So Miss Goody, this is what happens when this price trades here. Your entry is going to be here. So this is going to be your most favorable entry, but you're expecting it to go higher. And when it goes higher, then you also have a breaker here, because you had price trade below and you had price trade back above and close above. And as it continues higher, then you have a breaker here as well. It's just as it's going higher, all of these become lower and lower probability. And you don't want to take them immediately, because what happens a lot of times, I'll show you, is price will trade above this secondly created breaker, back down to the first one, up to the third one, then back down to consequent encroachment of the second one, and then higher, which then, if you're familiar with the market maker model, that's what this essentially is. You had price trading lower, it reached its bottom, it turned around in reverse. First indication of that reversal would be this breaker. You start moving price up, it starts retracing as it's sweeping highs, moves to this high, which swept that one. It'll trade back down again until it finally reaches whatever point it's looking at. So in its purest form, it's just a breaker with a fair value gap that you're taking the entry from. But in the end, once you watch it all unfold, it's really a market maker model in a lot of cases. If you have a sustained run, it essentially turns into a market maker model. Now, if it only goes up 20 or 30 points and then crashes back down again, like here it goes up 20, 30 points, and then we get this, then it was just a breaker for a short move, and that was it. And that's why I like to get out at 25 points, because I don't need it to have a sustained run. I just want to get out with something in my pocket. But if you get that sustained run, then if you see here, this is essentially the market maker sell side, and then this is the market maker buy side, all the way back to the top here. And along the way, you're just catching breakers. It trades above, trades back in, and then out. It's just on its way down as you're identifying potential breakers. Like this was a potential breaker, but it's not as clean as this one down here. So we'd probably, on a lower time frame, it might look as clean as that one. So let's try that out and see. So on the 30-second, the breaker didn't look that clean, but here it looks a lot better on the 15. And then I bet if I go to the 5, it might look even better. Right? See, here it is on the 5-second. So it looks a little better. Get your trade up, and then it trades down, but it doesn't close above, so you don't have it. It trades back lower, and so you just keep working your way down until you get that trade above, which we got over here. And so this would be the first breaker that you could take. But once it got up here and traded above and closed, but like I said, you know how it'll trade back down here, so you have to take that into account. So it traded below, you wait for it, it traded back above, confirmed it, and then you take the entry. So that's the continuation. Continuation is a little more difficult than if you just catch it at the bottom. As soon as you get a close above, you're ready to enter. So don't worry, Miss Goody. We'll continue to look at more examples as they present themselves, and eventually you'll be able to see it the same as I see it. And it took me a while to get here too. I'm only the last couple months have I been able to see it this cleanly. You need to, if you're bullish and looking for a bullish breaker, you need to close above the previous high. That's where you want to close above. I'm counting my 25 points from the limit, the edge of the breaker. So in this case, this is a bullish breaker with the bearish fair value gap in there. I'm sorry, not a bullish, a bearish breaker. Bearish fair value gap. So I would count the 25 points from here. Right here at the edge. Okay. Now, sometimes there will be an entry in here. And so in that case, what I'll do is, let's say I got in right here and this is at 18,700. The edge is at 685. So that's 15 points. So now I'm taking my trade for 40 points. I want the 15 plus the 25. So the only reason why I take entries inside and not from the limit is because to invalidate this setup, price needs to trade above this 725. And we're talking about entering at 685. So that's 40 points. 40 points is probably too much of a stop loss for most people. So there's a couple things you can do. You can either take a trade inside that limits your stop loss. So let's say you took it here at 700. Now your stop loss is only 25 points. And that's to the full amount. Or if you don't want to do that, in a lot of cases, price will trade to this level. So let me make this a different color. I usually make it orange. And I just call this the manipulation leg. So it faked out that it was going higher. It actually wanted to go lower. But this entire range up here also will need to be balanced. So price will a lot of times trade to consequent encroachment, which is right here at 705, which gives you also a better entry. Or you can wait until it trades somewhere up in here and take an entry. But most of the time what happens is first it delivers the 25 points down, which here it's done it twice. It started here, delivered 25, came back, delivered more than 25. Now, if it comes back a third time, that's when you'll get the deep retracement up here. And that's when you'll want to take that lower risk entry, but you have to wait on it. So you just got to decide whether you want to wait or whether you want to go. Um, Now, the fair value gap in some cases can save you because because you don't always get this. So that's the difference between a breaker setup and a unicorn. The unicorn setup with the fair value gap provides a little bit of comfort that maybe this fair value gap is going to hold price and you won't have to absorb all of this retracement. So the more you backtest these setups and the more you see them, the more you'll see the variables and you'll decide, what risk, how much risk you're willing to tolerate, and then how you take an entry based on that risk. Yeah, no problem, no problem. Any other questions? All right, so we're back at our opening value for the week. We opened at 18,633 and a half. And we've traded down 18,632. Macro, we'll see if we get a continuation to the downside or if we get a break to the upside, sweeping one of the highs. Right, so far we did get the continuation. Now let's see what the response is now that it hit another bullish fair value gap. There's a cluster of equal highs I'm looking at right at 642. Let's see if it jumps above those. Oops, sorry about that. Let's see what we got. No, not on a 1 minute. Yeah, we almost had a breaker here, almost, but these candles didn't close above here, this high. It just gave it a wick. Then we had a breakdown to the downside. Otherwise, I haven't seen a new breaker form. Well, I guess unless you're considering this as a bearish breaker, so maybe so. But we already had one there, so I just treat this as trading back into the breaker as opposed to, whoops, trading into a new one. So if this is what you were talking about, let's see, who said that? Deepak, if this is what you're talking about, then technically, yes, you had a breaker, technically. But I would just consider it trading back into this one since they overlap. There go those equal highs. Swap out now. All right, let's see if we get this. And this stays open. $5.75 constant encroachment. Okay. Yeah. He said the 1 hour candle wick. It's also a 1 hour bullish fair value gap here. So a lot of this definitely could be in play. Right, so we're over in power hour now. We've crossed over. So we've got about an hour left in our session today until 10 after 4. Naresh, I am currently using Topstep, which allows, I can use TradingView, which is the platform I'm using to trade through a broker called Tradovate. So that's how I trade. I use a prop firm. So if you're not using a prop firm, then it's not the same broker. However, if you just want to practice and get used to trading, as long as you download TradingView, you should be fine. But the problem you will have is that you won't have live data. Live data is not free for futures, and so you'll have to pay. I think it's like $7 a month to have live data. Otherwise, don't quote me, but I think it's like a 10 or 15-minute delay. But usually that's included in prop firm fees. So if you are trading with a prop firm, then you have live data. You won't have that issue. But no, Naresh, that's what I'm trading with. I'm using TradingView as the platform here, but my broker is Topstep. All right, so fair value gap did not hold up. Quite a rejection so far. Let's see if that rejection holds. That's pretty strong. Version here. Creating one on this side. See? Didn't look too bad. Let's see now if this inverted fair value gap plus the bearish fair value gap hold. If these don't hold and it trades back above, we might see a small little rally here for the rest of the hour. Okay, macro's over now. No, it's that you're not, that macro didn't do much. No, not every hour is going to do anything. It's just that's the time when you look for it to do something. And if it doesn't do anything, you step to the sideline and you wait for the next one. Or at least that's how I do it. Dumani, what's up? Good evening. Hmm. Uh, Naresh, TradingView, it's not an app. It's just a website. But if you're looking for Topstep, Topstep you have to pay for, and the link is in my description. But if you're not a seasoned trader and you haven't been doing this for a while, I wouldn't suggest you do that. I'd suggest you use TradingView to paper trade, take some demos and just get used to trading, get used to looking at the candles to see what you need to see, and go from there. I wouldn't try to pass a funded challenge just by copying my trades, because it's not going to help you in the long run. Not to mention you're relying on me for you to pass. Yeah, I definitely can't recommend that. But if you're just looking for Top Step and you feel like you're a good enough trader, there's a link in my description for Top Step account. But TradingView, you can demo trade for free. You'll just have a delay as far as when the candles are printing. But you can still watch the candles print. You can still start learning how to recognize whatever trade setup you like. And TradingView, there's a link also in my description for TradingView. 19014. Oh, geez. I'm looking at now what you're talking about. Yeah. 300 and something points there. That's the type of range we're looking at today. That's a nice. Let me look at the daily and just see what it looks like as far as most recent days. All right. So it looks like about the opposite of Wednesday, May 15th. So last Wednesday was a similar day, but bullish. And now we're finally trading back into that fair value gap on the daily. Yeah, this formation, these down wicks, very little candle body. Push towards midnight open, which is 960. Definitely not going to get the midnight open, but we could at least push in that direction, which is 300 points away. So we'll see if now it wants to be bullish to close out the day today, just to put a wick below the candle body. We'll see if this turns into anything. Right, no closure above, so no activation. Yeah, I'd rather not see price trade below this swing low here at 637. And maybe a little bit, not below 635. I don't want to see it go below 635 because all of this has been traded into multiple times. So it was created here, traded back to the halfway point, traded back down, and back up to the halfway point up here. And now we got another wick here. So all of this has been traded to before. I'd rather not see it trade down here any longer, especially if it wants to trade higher. We're running out of time. We have less than an hour for prop firms. And then for everybody else, there's another, 30, 40 minutes afterwards. But at least on Topstep and some of the other prop firms, you're done at 10 after 4. I know Apex has extended hours, but majority of the movement, majority of the volume disappears by 4:15. It looks like we got a little trend line here, so that might spell doom for for bullish momentum or for any type of bullish action. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, TJ. I know. Full moon today. Should have taken that short this morning. Yeah, I'm just waiting for something to happen, and we're running out of time, and it's been the last probably 20 minutes or so. It's been sitting in this box here. TJ, I take it you had a buffet today. Filled your accounts up. Yeah, maybe at 3:30 we have another 2 minutes, and at 3:30 possibly we will see price start to move a bit, where at least we feel like it's going to continue lower, or maybe we'll get some sort of reversal before we close out today. Yeah, it is risky to call tops doleful, but one thing that I have seen is that when new highs are made, we do generally retrace, even if it's for a day or two. And previously, the highs haven't really been swept by a large margin. Yesterday was probably a little bit more than typical, and that was only 50, 60 points. It's not like we eclipsed the high and then ran for 300. So, yeah, I think it could be that we go lower for a few days, and especially as I mentioned before, we didn't have a down wick on the weekly candle. So now that we're on Thursday, we were here Thursday afternoon, still with the same situation. Um, so I was looking forward to price pushing lower to give us that down wick. But the only thing I wanted to do is I wanted to respect the fair value gaps as long as Nasdaq was being the stronger of the three, and unwilling to trade below previous day's lows like it was. It's only this afternoon where it started to fail, and now it's pretty much in line with the other indices. So, those kind of things happen. But I needed my confirmation if I was going to take a long, and those confirmations didn't happen. So that was, good to stay out of the market. Right, so it's 3:30. The 3:30 candle did push above, but no closure. All right, that looks a little stronger. See how this one works out. Mm. And yeah, but a lot of this is, you're right, a lot of this is balanced. So a lot, I'd be surprised if it did push that low, but I just wanted to just take that into account, and maybe it'll hit consequent encroachment again. Okay, looks like it's not going to tap me in. All right, so every time frame above the 1 minute is only one candle makes the breaker. Let's drop one time frame down to the 30-second. All right, looks a little better here. Okay. Jeez, I didn't have my breaker to the wick, to the top of the wick. No wonder. All right, so it got just to the tick. Okay, so that's what happened. Oh well. But yeah, I missed out on the top wick. I think my box stopped at the candle body. Got to do better than that. All right, equal highs here. Hopefully that means that we're going to push through that. So anyone who did take a long here, hopefully those equal highs get pushed through soon. is. Right, and we push right up into the bearish gap from earlier. Remember, this is the one that sent price lower at 2 o'clock or 2:15. Once, twice, and third time finally pushed it much lower. So I'm not sure if price is going to continue to push higher, and this may be as far as it goes, but it'll trade from this breaker into this breaker, and you'll just get a ping pong back and forth. Let's go back up to the 5-minute here. Just make it easier to read. New day opening gap. Okay. Let me put that back on the screen. I completely forgot where that was. Oh, are you targeting this previous new day opening gap or today's new day opening gap? Because today's is way up here at 8:16. But we do have a previous day here at 694, which is from May 15th. Oops. Today's okay. Oh, 8:16. Got it. All right. So you're looking for a run up of 175 points. All right, Rogers, good luck. But if this ends up being a sustained run back up here, then you can see by using the breaker and just following price on its way down and waiting for confirmations, how you can catch the bottom. Okay, 725. You said that's where the VWAP is. Okay, and that is right where the bearish fair value gap was created. It was confirmed. Looks like 2 o'clock. No, it was the 1 o'clock candle, and then the 2 o'clock candle didn't trade back into it, so it got confirmed at the closure of 2 o'clock hour. So just about 40 minutes ago, that fair value gap popped up, and it's pretty large too. It's high as about 840 and the low 725, so it's over 100 points there. It looks like it touched that new day opening gap from the 15th. This gray bar here. $7.15 equal high. Let me find that. Maybe it's on the 1 minute, possibly. Yeah, 7.25 is where I keep finding the equal highs. All right, macro come in 5 minutes. Stretch this across again, just so we can see when it hits consequent encroachment and whether it wants to continue going higher. Get equal lows right here, so let's keep an eye on these two. 774 equal high in 5 minutes. Okay, up here. Okay, you know what? Since this new fair value gap has appeared, I have not measured out consequent encroachment for it yet. All right, everyone, we're in the final 20 minutes of the session this afternoon. Let me drop down to the 1 minute. We're all the macro will begin from 350 to 410. All right, look at that. First second. Now already jumped up 15 points. Will we get to 725 is the question. All right, so I gave 55 points from the entry of the breaker. Anyone who took that and was still in, it gave 55 points. Oh, you grabbed that 15? All right, Sadia, good job. Let's see how far it goes. Okay, so it put a wick just above that bearish breaker, but it didn't close above. But 701. All right, Wally. Okay. Well, Deepak, you were close. You said 725. It got to 715. So let's see if it wants to push a little harder and give that extra 10 points. I would just favor if it was going to turn around. I know we have a bearish breaker here, but I would favor this new fair value gap that's just recently created. Yep, you're right, Molly. Absolutely. We have equal highs there at 725 flat. Yeah, sometimes they get left behind, and you always wonder, okay, are we going to go get them? And we do, but that's when price decides it wants to take buy side before then going to get sell side. Okay, that was rather aggressive. Oops. All right, Rogers, hang in there. Yeah, these sessions can be like that, and yeah, I get this every day because I stream both sessions. I'm not sure many other streamers are doing mornings and evenings, or mornings and afternoons, because it is long. I'm not gonna lie. Um, the only break I get is between 12 and 1. But usually after the session, I'll take a couple hours away before coming back and either reviewing what happened today in the market or looking at what I think might happen tomorrow or any of those things. I try to take a couple hours away. And sometimes I don't even come back to it until the following morning. I just stay away because 6+ hours every day is a lot. And I know a lot of you are here with me both sessions, so you're doing the same 6 hours that I'm doing. So I appreciate your diligence and your endurance in being here with me. All right, Milad, no worries. Good to have you again. We'll catch you next time. Hopefully tomorrow morning, 9:15. And if not, we'll catch you at 1300. All right, let's see if we can eclipse that equal highs. Here at 707. All right, 4 o'clock. 10 more minutes for Topstep. And if you're on Apex, of course, you have more time. Oh, I do want to let you guys know if any of you are trading Apex or you were interested, today is the final day of the sale, the promotion they were running where the 250K account is the same price as the 50K account. So if any of you are looking to do one of the combines and try to get funded, that's a great opportunity to have a larger account for the price of the smaller one. But if you're not ready, please don't try to force it. It's just going to frustrate you and you're just going to spend money you probably shouldn't have spent. Oh, okay, Deepak. Wow. Okay, so you're doing you're doing an all day thing. Got it. I mean, I was doing this amount of time before I live stream. It's a little different streaming. Like right now, I'm extremely parched. I want to go and grab some water, but we're so close to the end of the session. I'm just gonna deal with it. But just trying to stay sharp and not dozing off or not getting up to take a break or any of those things. It sometimes wears on you. But I was doing this amount of time before. I just wasn't streaming it. All right, so we did not take those equal highs. Let's see if we can do that now. All right, just had a 70% retracement now. I didn't realize this must be something new that TradingView just threw in where you can add text to one of the lines whenever you draw a fib. So 70% retracement. Let's see if that now pushes price higher and we can eclipse these equal highs. I know there's a handful of you still in longs, and so I want to see if it can get up closer to the TP we're looking for. All right, Daz, catch you next time. Or, sorry, Daz R, catch you next time. Can I trade after 4? Sony Mix, are you asking me, will I live stream after 4 o'clock? Or are you asking me, is it possible to trade after 4? Oh, appreciate it, Defect. Thank you. Yeah. Sony, I try not to because the evening, the Asia session, it moves a lot slower. Plus, I'm doing this all day. I get up early because I'm on the U.S. West Coast, and so I'm 3 hours behind New York time. So in the morning when we get started, it's just after 6 o'clock for me, and I've been up since probably, I don't know, 4:30, 4:45. So staying up late and trading or streaming is, yeah, not good for family life. I try to give the evenings to my family. All right, WC, catch you tomorrow. 5 more minutes, everyone. Um, Sony, I'm not saying that there never can be a time where we do an evening session. I just don't want to commit to regularly doing it. Yeah, just schedule doesn't permit. Plus, I need a break. I mean, that's a good candle, but I'm not sure what type of range we have for the rest of the session today. So if you're in a position still, you may want to assess what you think the market's going to do between now and close. And right on cue, just as I say that, of course, there's an expansion here. You start seeing the candles moving again in your favor. So I'll shut up. I'll let you manage your own trade. You got 3 minutes left on the session with me. And then after that, you're on your own. If NVIDIA wasn't pre-market, then NQ would be way more bearish. That could be. I'm looking to see. So Nvidia was yesterday at 420, I believe, is when that was announced. So we had some volatility during the final macro at 350 to 410, and then that led into 420 when the announcement was made, and then price just kind of ran up during after hours. And right now we have traded to where we. Well, earlier we did trade below the weekly low, so before Monday's open. But now we're back at levels that we had on Tuesday. So possibly. But then that means that you're taking NVIDIA in isolation and saying that if we didn't get that push up, we would have still got the same push down. It would have just started at yesterday's, I guess, 3 or 4 o'clock and then pushed down that same level. And I'm not sure that's entirely how the market works. I feel like part of this push down is to take into account how far we pushed up yesterday to a new high. right? But, I reserve the right to be wrong. I'm not right in everything, and I'm just speculating what I think. But, the market, that actually could be true. All right, looks like maybe these equal highs are where price is going to finish. But either way, we got a 40-point move from the breaker that was confirmed at around 3:30. So in the last half hour, went from 18,662 all the way up to actually 18,707. So you're talking 45 points there. Not too bad to close out the day. Let's get back up to the 5-minute. Let's just take a look and see what things look like here. All right, so if we are looking at this being a market maker buy model, like into after hours and maybe into London, so we get a sweep of this high. Now we should have a retracement back into the zone, into the range. Then we'll have another expansion range up to here. So we'll clear out this fair value gap up to 843, retrace back down, probably to this level, 717. And then we'll have that final push up to here into this cluster at 918 or so. So that may be what we get during the after hours and into London if we get an expansion. If price just kind of mopes around and doesn't do very much, then that may be tomorrow morning's New York AM. So that's my take on the market and how things are moving and what things look like at this moment. It's bound to change depending on where the market opens up at 1800. There could be a gap that's pretty sizable. So things could change, but looking at things right now, that's what I'm thinking. But with that being said, it's now 10 after, and I want to thank you all for being here today. Thanks for everything that you bring to the live stream. I'm back at it tomorrow morning at 6:15. On your way out, make sure you like the stream, subscribe if you haven't already. Again, if you haven't subscribed, I'm not sure what you're waiting on, but go ahead and subscribe if you haven't liked the stream, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow morning at 6:15. For all you afternoon traders, tomorrow afternoon, 1300. Take care, everyone.